So I'll start the recording now. We're already on Facebook Live. So anyone that wants to share can share. And then if you also want to invite people to to ask questions, that will also be um very good. I'll just check for your bio and then I would read it. So I want to really say thank you very much um for saying yes to join us for this particular event. So this is a mentorship event, and my firm is based in Nigeria for now, and they are an intellectual property law firm. So we do different things that are in the spectrum of intellectual property, and this is a mentorship course that mentorship and internship program that we actually hold. So we have 6 mentees that we are working with for now, and they are very intelligent people that are interested in different areas of intellectual property. And then some have already written on sports law before, but since I'm not into sports law directly, I thought that it would be very good to invite someone else that is into sports. And so I went on LinkedIn and I was checking for people's profile to know who would be best suited to come and talk about sports law. And I saw your profile, I sent you a message, and you were very warm and receptive. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you, Lucio. So I'll just read out your profile quickly. And if I don't pronounce your name properly, have mercy. Okay. So Lucio Mazzei is an international sports lawyer, co-founder of Sport Talks at Calis Serrano, and is the co-founder of Esports Law Review, ISDE, Alumnus AIAS, Italian Association of Sports Lawyers.
Oh my God.
So thank you very much for joining us. And I think um, most of the people here are either lawyers or law students. So I'll be giving you the floor like in about 20, 25 minutes. Just tell us about how you started and how you got into the sporting world. What are the things people should look out for and all that? Just tell us how. So if someone is in law school and aspiring to become sports lawyers, what are the things that they are supposed to do? What are the kind of books they should read? What are the kind of networks they should
Powerful.
join? What are the type of professional courses they should join, etc. So the floor is yours. Thank you very much, Lucio.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure for me being here and talking with you and with all the students or the lawyers who are listening to our talk, to our conversation. And thank you for your kind words. And yeah, I really love sports law. I know it's like a branch of the law that is still not so popular. I mean, it is popular, and it is popular now only in some countries like Switzerland, like Spain, somehow Italy, but not all over the world. Even if I saw that more and more, there are more and more courses, master, LLM. So I think that people are being involved so much in the education regarding sports law. But how did I start? I prepared a thesis, a personal thesis during my last year at university about sports law. But as there was no sports law course at that time in my university, I asked the civil law professor to have a thesis with him, and so we both decided to prepare a dissertation about the professional football players' contract. It was very, like, it was the main like my first step into the sports law world, and after that I really I went crazy about this field of law, and after my graduation I decided to attend to a sports law course that was organized at that time by the public university of Milan, where I was living at that time. And so I started to study, and I decided that, like, my I could combine my passion for law and my passion for sports. And after that that course that allowed me to that let me some way know all the people, all the stakeholders, at least regarding the Italian context. I sent an application to the Italian sports the Italian Football Association, and so I started my career there as a trainee prosecutor. And I decided, after that experience, I decided that sports law was the field I wanted to focus on during my career as a lawyer. After that, I decided to expand my international network, and it is like the first suggestion that I want to give to all of your viewers, because it is something that really necessary. And so I decided to move to Spain because there was the famous ISDE Master in International Sports Law. It was at that time the one of the two sports law, three sports law masters, like with a special focus on sports law, because there are and there were already at that time many sports management courses and sports management masters with legal skills. So we've also a focus on the legal part, but there were only three masters specialized in sports law. So I decided to attend to the ISDE master, and it was like something that changed my career, because until that time I was like an Italian lawyer with a passion for sports law, but my view was very like national. After that master, I started to work and to collaborate with other young lawyers, other professionals coming from all over the world. And when I say all over the world, I have to mention like South America, India, China, everywhere. So I grew up a lot as a professional, but also as a person, attending to an international master. And after that the ISDE master included a necessary and an indispensable stage internship. And so I decided to move to Uruguay in South America in order to have my internship. And so it was very useful for me, because I could practice my Spanish, because at that time I had studied a little bit of Spanish, but I was not so fluent as I can be now. And so it was a fantastic experience for me, also as an European guy living on the other side of the world, like in a country very different from Italy, with other traditions and all of that. And after that, I came back to Milan, and I worked in an international law firm called Osborne Clark. It is an English law firm, but with a lot of offices all over the world. And then I moved again to Madrid to work in a boutique law firm specialized in sports law. I told you like all my story or my career because I would like to highlight what are the useful tips that I can give you and I can give all the students and the young professionals. The first one is to that in order to be a good sports lawyer, you have to be a good lawyer. So you have to have you must have, I will say, good preparation and a good knowledge of the civil law and of the labor law, because sports law basically is a mix of um civil law, administrative law, and labor law. So if you are a good labor lawyer or civil lawyer or administrative lawyer, you already have like a good basis for getting to be a good sports lawyer. After that, my other tip is attending to an international sports law master, even online, because as we all know, at the moment it's a little bit difficult to move to other countries. But even like there are a lot of sports law masters online. Even ISDE, for example, organizes one of them, or many other institutions and universities, because it gives you like an international point of view. That is something really, really important for young sports lawyers. After that, I would like another tip that I would like to give you is trying to expand your network with the help of LinkedIn, for sure, like the way we met, and when it will be possible, also to travel and to attend international congresses, conferences, because according to my experience, that was the best way to break into this business, into the sports business. Because, for example, after my master, after the experience, I started to travel a lot for conferences, for congresses. I went to Lausanne, I went to Buenos Aires, and in a more relaxed context, as a congress could be, you can have the opportunity to meet all the people involved in this field, the sports law field. So my suggestion is to prepare a good ticket, like business card, a good business card, and I think that you don't have to be shy, because there is no one waiting for you, but you have to in a certain way you have to promote yourself. So don't be shy. Go to talk. Go and talk with the people that can help you in the development of your career. Don't be shy, and you can text them, you can send an educated email to all of them, and you can ask suggestions, and you can send your CVs, because my experience tells that no one is waiting for you. You can be the only one who can promote yourself, and that can make change important steps to develop your career. And I think that now also, like organizing webinars, calls, video calls, live talks, can also be a very good and simple opportunity to let people know you. And that said, so my suggestion is starting to attending a sports law master, a sports law course, and you have to consider that this is still like a not so popular field of law. So if you if you don't find a job like in 2-3 months, like if you are a lawyer working in a more common field, you don't have to say, oh, it's impossible for me to get into this business, to start to be a sports lawyer, a successful sports lawyer, because it takes you time. It can take you years, but I think that if you have like a strong passion, a big passion for this field, and you study hard, work hard, you can have the opportunity of of becoming a good lawyer with a knowledge of the sports law field.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lucio. So if anybody has any question here, you can just indicate that you have a question in the chat box, and I'll just invite you to ask your question. So while we're waiting for those that might have questions, I would like to know if there are like different specializations in sports law. So are there some people that are more into like a particular type of like a particular aspect of sports? Maybe they're into the management side, or they're into the transfer and all that, like, or some into football, some into different areas. So how would you identify which is the area that you love best, and how do you go about being a professional in that area? Or would you say that it's better for people to come in and just learn everything about sports law, or you can pick an area? For example, in normal IP, people can just say, okay, maybe I'm a fashion lawyer, or I'm a music lawyer, or probably I'm a trademark lawyer, etc. So for sports, do we also have different niches that you can join?
Yeah. I got your question. It's a very interesting question. I can say that there is one difference between the sports lawyers who are more into the anti-doping side, and the other ones that are more like into the contracts one. I'm gonna explain you what I'm saying. When we talk about sports law, we are talking about mainly contracts. So as football is the most popular sports and the most practiced sports in the world, when you can be a sports lawyer with a special focus on the football transfers, on the football contracts. So at least, for example, in Italy, most of sports lawyers work in football, in the football field. So what do they do? They prepare contracts, so work agreements, transfer contracts, or so with all the parts related to the transfer fee, to the taxation. So there is this difference between the one the sports lawyers with this specialization in football law. So they prepare contracts, they negotiate contracts, they negotiate all the clauses of the contracts between a club and a football player, for example, or they assist agents. Because I remember, for example, when I was in Osborne Clark, when I was in that law firm, most of our clients were agents, were intermediaries. So our work was mainly based on assisting intermediaries in making contracts, representation contracts between them and the football players. Then, of course, what a sports lawyer, so I would say a football lawyer, does is assisting coaches, clubs, intermediaries, football players in the resolution in the controversials. So you can assist them in proceedings before a FIFA DRC, before FIFA Player Status Committee, before CAS, before the Court of Arbitration for Sport. And so this is a side of sports law. There is another side which consists in the anti-doping, which is the part that I don't really like. I prefer the other one. And in this case, you assist sportsmen in dispute resolutions in the national courts or before CAS in case of appeals. So I can tell you that there is this kind of difference, but there is no difference related to the single sport. So there are no. We can say that there could be there could be some sports lawyers which are more familiar with football matters, but we cannot say that there are football lawyers, there are basketball lawyers, there are baseball lawyers. But clearly the part related to football is very, very, very related to the labor side of sports law.
Okay, thanks, Lucio. So I'd like to know how lucrative it is. So for someone who is contemplating, okay, do I go into sports law? Would you advise that they just go because of the love of it? Maybe they went into sports before and then they got into law and they are finding a way to merge it? Or can you categorically say that sports law is lucrative, and for anyone who is interested, they would actually benefit a lot, aside from the fulfillment of their practice, but also financially?
Well, another good question. For sure, I can tell you that sports law is not the most lucrative side of law. That's for sure. I think you are. I mean, if you are passionate about that, you can work only doing sports law. But if you don't work in very, very big law firms, very famous for sports law, you cannot live doing only sports law. So you have to be, as I was saying before, a good civil lawyer or labor lawyer with also a special focus on sports law. So it's very difficult, especially in countries where like sports are not so professional or professionalized, to live only being a sports lawyer. So my suggestion is do not focus only sports law, but studying all the sports law subjects, all the sports law matters, but still practicing the other fields of law, because it's very difficult to live only with football or sports law matters.
Okay. So for people who, because when you were sharing your story at the beginning, you said that you were able to travel for different sports events, do your masters and all that. So for people who might not have the finance to just finish from the university and then move to study their masters and start traveling for networking events. Although now with COVID, we have a lot of programs that are online, but some are paid, some are free and all that. So aside from the places that we might have to spend. So are there like some other places where we can access what they call it, materials on sports law without having to pay so much and still get a lot of knowledge?
I got your point. Well, now the first thing I have to say is that the development of all these online courses can be useful because most of them are not so expensive. So almost everyone could afford at least some of them. But another suggestion that I would like to give you is to read all the sports law articles that you can find online. So, for example, there are some sports law journals like Law is Sport. Law is Sport is a web portal, a website where most of the recognized I mean, I will say the best sports lawyers discuss and write articles about the hot topics and like reading, and then there is a big archive. So if you maybe get a subscription, you can have access to like hundreds of sports law articles where, if you want, you can expand a lot your knowledge about this field of law. There is also Football Legal, which is another like legal a football law journal. The characteristic of Football Legal, as the name says, is that is not related to all sports law in general, but only to the football law matters, controversial. It is another great journal, but it is a little bit more expensive. But you can find online. There is another website called Lex Sportiva, which was founded by some former ISDE students, and it is free. And there are a lot of articles written by young professionals who are really competent. So this I think this could be a good way to know more about sports law. Reading Law in Sport, Football Legal, and Lex Sportiva. But I'm sure that if you Google like sports law article, football law articles, you can find many articles about every matter. I don't know, football development in Japan, the tax law in Brazil, and most of them are in English, so everyone can understand. That being said, another tip is focusing on the local teams. For example, if you want to practice sports, let's talk about football. If you want to put in practice what you read, also buying books, I can suggest you some books where you can find all the sports law subjects, all the sport with like there is a list of all the most important sports law controversial, all the decision of the FIFA DRC, for example, or the most important decision of the of CAST, of the Court of Arbitration for Sport. So I think that could be not so expensive, and you don't need to move. You can order online the book in English, and you can learn a lot in that way. But also, I think that it's important to put in practice what you learned on the books. So a good example, a good idea can be, for example, assisting even for free, for example, the football local team. If you or also maybe, I don't know about your country, but maybe there are some also professional football teams which are in the first division, which don't have like an in-house legal counsel. So you can also tell them, I can work even for free at the beginning, so I can practice sports law and I can earn experience, and you can like have the legal help of a lawyer that otherwise you could not have. This could be a good, or assisting agents, intermediaries. For example, if we talk about football, I'm sure that in your country there are a lot of agents who want to sell, for example, young football players abroad, and so you can you can help them to negotiate contracts, agreements. You can be like you can help them into not only negotiation but also in writing the agreement or the contract.
Okay.
So
Okay. Thanks.
most of the sports lawyers have started helping young football intermediaries, young football agents. This is how we start.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. So are there particular certifications that you must get in order to practice sports law at a particular level? So are there like some compulsory certifications, maybe from FIFA or somewhere, or you don't need those certifications? Once you are a law graduate, you can practice sports law to any level.
Well, good question, as usual. No, for example, if you want to assist a football players before CAS, you do not even have to be a qualified lawyer. So, I mean, there are no specific certifications. You only have to be graduated in law, and of course, if you want to work in international law firms with sports law departments, you have to be a qualified lawyer, of course. But you don't need specific requirements or specific certifications. But it is recommendable to attend to an international sports law master, because it can make the difference.
Okay. Okay. So, do we have any question from any other person? Clarice, Bernice, Christina, Madu, Uche. Does anyone have any question?
Another thing that I would like to add is that now with the pandemic, COVID-19, many sports lawyers, many good professionals started to organize webinars. So my suggestion is reading, checking every day LinkedIn, because there are a lot of webinars that are free. So you don't have to register for them, you don't have to pay for them. And many webinars related to sports law are already on YouTube. I can, for example, tell you that also FIFA organized some sports law webinars that you can find easily on YouTube, or IAF, which is the Association of International Football Lawyers, organized some days ago a very important and useful webinar related to the new FIFA RSTP amendments and the new like very important modification, which is the maternity leave granted to the female football players. And another thing that is coming to my mind is that now there are like two hot topics in the sports law field, which are women football. So I suggest everyone to focus on the women football, on the development of women football, because there are a lot of congresses, conferences, articles where like the topic of the women football is highlighted. And another one is the esports, like the competitive video gaming is becoming like a big business all over the world, and a very lucrative sector. So I think that there will be more and more need in this field for young, prepared lawyers who will have the opportunity to assist, to help, legally speaking, young e-players who are becoming pro players, teams, organizer or people who organize the events, and also if we talk about sponsorships, there will be a huge need for professional, for lawyers who have the preparation, the knowledge to assist clubs, or also like other big companies in making sponsorship agreements, sponsorship contracts.
Okay, thank you, Lucio. So in intellectual property, we have like national laws, and then we have treaties that bind several countries that sign up to them. So in the sports space, we also have treaties like for IP, for trademark, we have the Madrid Protocol, we have the PCT for patents, we have the Berne Convention for copyrights and all that. So for the sports space, do they also have treaties that bind different countries together and have reciprocal reciprocal agreements, etc., arrangements, etc.?
I got it. No, in our field we don't have treaties, but we have. If we talk about football, for example, which is, as you can understand, my field, my main field, we have FIFA, which is the International Football Federation, and all professional football players are under the big umbrella of Mama FIFA. So in all the, for example, football transfers with an international dimensions, FIFA has the competence, and there is also the jurisdiction of FIFA. So let me give you an example. If there is a football player who is a Nigerian club sell this player to an Italian club, if there are problems related to the football agreement, to the work agreement of the football players, or regarding the football transfer, as like for example, the player is Nigerian, the club, the selling club is Nigerian, and the buying club is Italian, there is an international dimension. So the football player or the club is allowed to go before FIFA DRC. And the same happens if you want to go before CAS. In this case, Court of Arbitration for Sport, you can go there. You can go before it in two cases. Of there is like a clause which allows you to go before CAS in case of controversial, that if it is a clause stipulated in the contract, or if you want to appeal a national or a FIFA DRC decision. But of course, if there is like a labor controversial between an Italian club with an Italian football player, of course there is no international dimension, so you can go only before a national court.
Thank you. Madhu asked the question, say hello. Interesting insight so far. Thank you, Lucio. Is it compulsory for one to be registered with FIFA or other international football bodies in order to be actively engaged with international football players?
So when we say one, we mean football player, we mean clubs. I could not understand the question in this sense, because for a club, for like every national association must compulsory be registered with FIFA. I mean, all the national football association are like subordinated to FIFA, which is the International Football Federation. So yeah, of course, if you want to play professional football, you have to be registered registered with the national association. The national association is associated to the Continental Confederation. If, for example, in the case of Nigeria, Nigerian Football Association is linked to the CAF, which is the African Football Confederation. The African Football Confederation, respectively, is linked and subordinated to FIFA, which is like the International Football Federation. So, of course, that if you want to play professional football, you have to comply with FIFA rules, and you are somehow subordinated to FIFA regulations.
Okay, I think that if I understand his question, what he's trying to say is that as a lawyer, if you want to work with international athletes, so if I'm a Nigerian lawyer, but I want to work with maybe the athletes in Italy, do I have to be registered with FIFA to be able to practice sports law on an international level?
Okay. No. In this case, no. You don't have to be registered with nobody. Only if you are an agent, so a football agent, for example, a football intermediary, you have to be compulsory registered with the National Football Association. So in the case of Italy, for example, if I want to work as an agent, as an intermediary, I have to pass an exam, which is very difficult. And after I pass this exam, I can be registered as a professional intermediary, and I can operate in the Italian market. But for example, if I want to do a transfer, negotiate a transfer of let's say an Italian football player with a Spanish club, I have two ways. The first way is that I can ask for a registration, and I have to pay for being registered with the Spanish Football Association in order to work as an intermediary also there in that country. Or I have to be assisted by a Spanish intermediary, a Spanish agent who is already registered with the Spanish Football Association. So if you want to work as a sports lawyer, you don't have to be registered. But if you want to work as an intermediary or as an agent, you have to be registered with the national association where you are doing the transfer, or you are assisting your player in a work agreement.
Okay, okay, thanks, Lucio. Then we have another question from Clarice. So she said, very informative presentation. You mentioned agents. Do these sports agents have to be lawyers, as is common with most trademark and patent agents? So do you have to be a lawyer to be an agent, or you can just be an agent without being a lawyer?
Well, you can be a sport agent being a lawyer or not being a lawyer. I mean, for sure you cannot be a lawyer being a sport agent, because what we usually do as sports lawyers is assisting agent, for example, football agents who have, for example, have a good network, and so they manage very easily to sell or to promote their players, but they do not have a knowledge of law, so of the jurisprudence. So they come to us and ask for a legal assistant. So they tell us, oh, can you help me to draft this agreement, this work agreement? Can you help me to draft this transfer agreement? So also, in order to answer that question, it depends on the country, because, for example, in Italy, if you are a lawyer, you don't have to be a registered football intermediary, a registered football agent, if you are a lawyer. But in other countries, even if you are a lawyer, you have to be to pass that exam, the registration exam, and you have to register with the National Football Association. But this is changing now, because this year, 2021, FIFA probably will be able to reintroduce like the FIFA license for agents. It means that FIFA will have the competence to prepare like an exam, a global exam. So the same for all the football agents all over the world. That will, if you, in case you will pass the exam, you will be granted of a, let's say, a license. Yeah, it's a license. So a license, an intermediary license. And so you will be able to work all over the world without registering with the single football association. It's something that all intermediaries are waiting for, even if they are a little bit scared, because this exam will be, as it was in the past before 2015, it will be very tough, and not all intermediaries have a good knowledge of English. So this could also be a problem. But if they want to work in a globalized world, they will have to pass this exam.
Okay. So thank you very much, Lucio. I'm not sure if anyone else has a question. So if you have a question, I'll just give 5 seconds or 10 for anyone that wants to ask their question to do so. But if no one else has a question, I'd like to say thank you very much, Lucio. Thank you for coming. Thank you for educating us. If you have any question, and yes, thank you. So he just dropped his email address, and I'll just spell it mazzei.lucio@yahoo.it. So this is his email address. Anyone who has a personal question or inquiry can reach out to him either through his email, or you can check him out on LinkedIn. He's also on Instagram. He's a very social person. So you can find him easily. So if you have any question, you can reach out to him. Thank you for simplifying sports law for everyone who has attended via Zoom and Facebook. And it will also be posted on our YouTube page. So thank you very much, Lucio, and have a lovely day or night. Night, because I think we are on the time zone. Yes, so we are heading towards the night. So have a good night's rest. And for every other person that's joined us, thank you very much. This is our mentorship and internship program, and he's our first mentor that has just come to speak. Normally, the mentees present their papers and then the mentors comment on it, but he's the first person that's coming to give a lecture. And so thank you very much for this very educative and insightful lecture. Thank you very much, and have a lovely night's rest, everyone. Bye.
The pleasure was all mine. I'm waiting for your questions, and I mean, you just have to text me, and I will be there for answering all of your questions.
Okay. Thank you very much. Take care.
Take care. Bye. Have a nice weekend.
You too.